in March 2022, soon after the Russian invasion of Ukraine, I spoke to Kobus Olivier. He's a South African who's been living there. Kobus was the chairman of Cricket Ukraine. He was busy establishing it as a sport there when the war broke out, and he and his four faithful companions, his pooches, his dogs, then left Ukraine for Zagreb, Croatia. But then he made the decision to return to Kyiv last January, and Kobus has been documenting events there as part of a documentary he's working on. It's called Ollie's War. Ollie is his beloved poodle, and he's been sharing his videos online on his social media page, and how residents in his apartment block spend their nights in basement bomb shelters, but also recording the sounds of drones being controlled from kilometers away, that's been flying over in Kyiv. Just take a listen to some of the footage that he collects. Okay, that looks like something that doesn't sound pleasant. Kobus Olivier joins me now on the line. Good morning, Kobus. Hope you're well.
Hi, hello, Lester. Good morning. Very nice to speak to you again. Thank you for having me on the program.
I'm giggling because just as you said hello, one of your companions jumped on your lap. Who's that there with you?
Yeah, this is, I can quickly show you. It's my four dogs here. This is Jessie. And you can see on the side here, I've got Tiki. And then we've got Ollie here, and Kaya's the black one you can't really see. She's black like my outfit. She's lying here on my side here. So I'm sitting here as usual, I'm spending most of my time these days in my corridor on a yoga mat with my little backpack with my documents next to me, ready to make a beeline for the shelter. It's been hectic.
Kobus, it's been what I spoke to you in March 2022, 3 years since I last spoke to you. Just how have life been? And you left. When we last spoke to you, literally we had you while in the car leaving Kyiv. You then decided to return last year, even though there's still bomb and drone attacks there in the Ukrainian capital.
Listen, yes, as you say, I was on my way to Zagreb in Croatia. That was quite a story on its own, and that's actually where Ollie's War, the new documentary, started. Was my sort of the mission to get out of Ukraine into Croatia. We managed, in the end, I managed to get to Zagreb, and I was teaching there at the French International School, sport and English. But then after 1 year, the school decided not to renew my teaching contract. And then obviously when that happened, I lost my work permit, which also allowed me to stay in Croatia because it's a Schengen country. So I basically had 2 weeks again, to leave Croatia. Otherwise, I would have been deported. And I had two choices: to return to South Africa, because obviously I've got a South African passport, or I could return to Ukraine because my Ukrainian temporary visa was still valid till June last year. So I had about 5 more months on my Ukrainian temporary residence visa. So those were my only two choices. And for me to return to South Africa would be very, very difficult for various reasons. Firstly, to get a job. I've got nothing there. I'll arrive there. I won't have a place to stay. I won't have a job. And secondly, I've got nothing really left. I've got no property or anything in South Africa, no family. So I decided to come back to Ukraine. I didn't expect it to be as bad as it is. It really, it's much worse than when I left Ukraine the first time. The war is intensified, and I'm basically stuck here now.
Kobus, going through some of your videos online and what you want to compile into a documentary, there's one video where you comment, "Oh, that's the sound of a drone." And I've seen some of these videos that have been posted online, which is now actually a a very traumatic sound, the sound of a drone that flies overhead. In fact, we have some of that sound. Let's have a listen, Mario. It's that very, very slow droning sound that you may hear there. You then comment later and say, "Oh, that's a drone flying overhead." What's that experience like?
It's very hard to describe. It's I mean, terrifying wouldn't even go halfway to describe it. It's the worst thing in the world. You hear this drone overhead, you know the damage it causes, and you don't know where it's going to land. So you're literally sitting here, hearing the sound coming closer, and it could land, somewhere away from you, or it could land right on your building. So you don't know, and then you just hear the sound, and it intensifies as it gets closer. The sound gets louder, and then you just hear these like an enormous explosion, and that's also what I think the closest to say is people experience Guy Fawkes and they hear firecrackers. This is on another level.
You almost look, you obviously fear for safety and life, but has it become almost normalized, as you say, like fireworks on Guy Fawkes?
Yeah, I mean, I've been back now for almost a year and a half, and it's the last couple of months. It's daily attacks. I mean, I teach most of my lessons in the school now in bomb shelters. We've got drones overhead, so you hear these explosions in the distance. It's become normal for Ukraine, for living here. But then mostly at night when it's quiet, I'm alone in the apartment with the dogs, and or I'm in the bomb shelter downstairs, which is our parking lot, with all the people in my complex. We're down there, children, dogs, women, men, and then you just hear these explosions outside, and it's loud, especially when it's the ballistic Kinzhal missiles. I mean, the sound of those ones when they hit targets, I mean, everything rattles inside when it's a missile.
So forgive my line of questioning, Kobus. Of course, crime is normalized in South Africa. 77 murders on average a day. But you're literally living in a war zone with drones and rockets literally every night. But you still consider being in a bomb shelter currently in your corridor at the moment as safer. I would think that is insanity, living in a literal war zone. And yes, you say, well, probably better opportunities there financially. But talk to me through that process of literally living in a war zone and say, well, it's still better than coming home.
Listen, I think, I mean, I have to put it first, and I'll always be South African. Yeah. I mean, the highlight of my weeks now is actually on a Friday night or Saturday. I get the channel here, so I'll watch the Stormers. Is my team. It will always be my team. I'm very proudly a Western Caper, a Capetonian, and I mean, it's my dream is to sit on the Cape Town new stadium and watch a Stormers game. The closest I get is to lie in my room, and I'll be honest, it's actually a funny little story. I recorded a little part of me watching with the dogs on my bed, watching a Stormers game, but the red air raid alarm was on. So there were drones. I was supposed to be in the shelter, and I just thought, I'm not going to miss this second half. I mean, the Stormers were leading. So I sent a little message to John Dobson. Dobbo was my housemate for a year. Oh, wow. We shared a house. And we worked together at UCT. He did the rugby there, and I was doing the cricket. So we're very good friends. And John actually played the recording of my message to the Stormers team. He told me that before one of their matches this season, in the changing room to motivate the guys. They said all the Stormers know who Kobus Olivier and his dogs are, and he's our staunchest supporter. So I'll always be I'll always be a Capetonian. But also, I mean, for me to leave at the moment with the dogs, I mean, I'm very far away from Cape Town, and the flight tickets, the first week or two there, and then in one way, and I know it's the truth is I've always been a teacher and a sports coach. I work with children, and I do feel I make a difference in Ukraine.
You know,
I
we're playing in
really
Glasgow
but-
tomorrow, eh? We're playing in Glasgow
Oh, yeah, I'm
tomorrow,
ready.
and would you mind sending a?
Tomorrow evening.
Would you mind organizing? I'm not saying you should be unsafe, but organize another video to the Stormers, please, Kobus.
Lester, I tell you, I wish I could contact President Putin somehow and ask him to just lay off for 90 minutes so I can watch the game. I mean, I'll be glued to my television tomorrow evening. I can't wait for the game. But yeah, so I also feel I make a difference to Ukrainian children. I'm trying to help these kids. That's what I do. I work with children, and these kids are traumatized, obviously. And I do feel I make a little bit of a difference, yeah.
Kobus, I'm looking forward to when you've collated all your videos, all your storylines, putting it all together for a documentary that you're producing about your experience there. You're calling it Ollie's War. Ollie is one of your dogs, your four companions there. But I really want Capetonians and South Africans to go to Kobus's social media on Instagram. He's at Kobus25, Kobus 25, and I'll wave to the pups on the Zoom link video here. But Kobus, do stay safe. Hope we can chat to you soon. In fact, let's chat after the Stormers wins a URC final, because we hope and pray for the best. Kobus, Olivier, really appreciate your time.